Hi, so before we start day 3, we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about how you got on with yesterday's challenge, which was to try to notice perhaps when you flipped your lid and to see if you could bring some of those skills that we were talking about, to see if you could help you or someone around you get their brain connected again before taking any action. So they were making sort of more wise movements rather than reacting with their lids flipped. So perhaps you were able to sort of get down low and make eye contact with a child or somebody in your house. Perhaps you're able to bring the breath and take time to just pause for yourself. So we'd really love to hear from you all, whether you've been using them and what was helpful and what wasn't. So if you've done any of those challenges, please write a comment on any of the forums that we're posting these videos, and let's get on with today's video.
Hi, so welcome back to 30 days of going inside because we can't go outside. And today is day 3 and we're going to be exploring balance. And we're going to be doing that by using a really helpful diagram of our emotional state so that we can understand the 3 main types of emotional regulation systems, because they work together and integrate to regulate our emotions and help us to actually achieve our goals. And this particular model of the 3 emotional states was created by Paul Gilbert and Mary Welford, and we're indebted to them because this model is something that we use a lot with our clients, with our families, with ourselves, and we're really excited about sharing this with you today. So Lou, do you want to start off with the first emotional state?
Yeah, sure. So these are 3 systems, and the first system we're going to talk to you about is called our threat system. Okay? And when we're in our threat system, this is when we're kind of something in our environment or inside has made us get ready to fight or to run away. So this is our fight, flight or freeze response when we're in the system. When we're in the system, the function of the system is to scan for danger, to look for threat and to keep us safe. And it operates on the kind of better safe than sorry. So we're more likely to think, oh, I think that is a snake, rather than to kind of think, oh, it might be a stick, it might be a snake, I'll just sort of wait and see. It's very quick, it happens automatically, and we don't have much control over it. It just goes bang. It's a bit like if a tiger walked in the room, we're not just going to kind of keep looking around the room and chatting, we're going to go bang onto the tiger. And the feelings that accompany this system that we're often going to feel when we're in this system are things like anger and disgust and anxiety.
Okay, so the second system that we're going to explore now is the drive system, which is the system that we're in when we're trying to acquire stuff. So where we detect or show interest in or take pleasure from doing something, such as revision, making a meal. It's kind of, in some respects, the state that we're in when we're trying to hoard toilet paper at the moment, where we're moving our bodies towards something that we perceive as being good for us, such as shelter and mates and food. And the chemical that's released by our brain when we're in this drive acquiring state is dopamine. And dopamine is what our brain secretes, and it kind of encourages us to repeat these behaviours over and over. And also we know that we get a little bit of dopamine too when we get a like on Instagram, or maybe when we get a text. So in some respects, we're raising a generation at the moment of kind of dopamine addicts.
Yep, the people who design social media know all about this science, right? That they understood that the way to get us to buy more of their product is to put us into threat mode first, to make us feel really bad about ourselves, i.e. frizzy hair equals bad, and then send you on your way to buy a product. Look, if you can just buy more of this or use this product, then you'll look like this model in this picture. And we buy the product and we feel good. We get that little hit of dopamine. So it's feel bad, buy this, and you'll feel better. And we know it doesn't work, right? But we still do it.
Well, thank goodness there is a system that we can access that kind of makes us feel okay when life is difficult, because life is difficult at the moment. And that's our soothing system. And we're going to be looking over the next couple of weeks at ways in which we can activate activate this soothing system and access it. So kind of it's the system whereby we experience elevated levels of endorphins and oxytocin. But most importantly, when we're in this soothe, rest and digest setting, our drive and our threat systems are turned off. And we actually know, I know from experience and from research too, that young people find it quite difficult to self-soothe. And this inability to access that soothing system inside their minds, because life is so frantic and with social media, means that they find it quite difficult to self-soothe.
This system is linked with our attachments as well, and it has a lot to do with our early experience. So we know that for some of us, we may grow up in an environment where there's a lot of threat, a lot of stress, what we call toxic stress, and also where perhaps through our attachments that consistent caregiving may not have been present for whatever reason. And this can mean that we may struggle to access our soothing state. It's not really the remit of this video today to go into all of that. That is a massive topic. But what we want to share is that it's never too late, and that we can do things in adulthood to try to shift that and to try to create more balance. And if we've got a very undeveloped soothing system, then we need to try and grow that one, and so that we have circles that are roughly the same shape, I guess, the same size, as you can see in these diagrams. And you can really see that at the moment in terms of balance, and the conversations I'm having at work are that the balance just isn't there at the moment. There is a tiger in the room, metaphorically, it's COVID-19. And so our threat systems are massively, as you can see here, sort of activated. Our drive system is pretty activated. What can I do about this? And our soothing system is probably, we're not spending enough time in our soothing system or accessing that soothing system as much as we could. And the thing about COVID as well is it's, whilst there are things we can do, ultimately this is a problem that's ongoing. It's not like we can solve or move away from the threat. This threat is potentially everywhere. It's invisible. It's deadly. And so that's what's making this quite toxic in terms of us getting stuck in that threat zone.
So it's almost as though people are having to sit with a level of uncertainty that keeps quite a high level of anticipatory anxiety, that kind of, as you said, the threat is all-encompassing. Yeah. It's not something that fight or flight is helpful for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So it sounds to me as though at the moment a lot of people are maybe walking around with lids split and kind of in their emotional brains, yeah. And regulation can be quite difficult. So maybe the challenge for today will be to kind of notice which system you are in.
Yeah.
And if you can bring some awareness to the systems that you're in during the day and how they feel, and whether or not you can actually feel a flood of endorphins or feel your brain secreting dopamine, that hug drug, whether or not you feel you've activated some oxytocin by looking into somebody's eyes within the family today. So just to notice which system you are in, and also to see whether or not you're having the same difficulties that maybe Lou and I are having in activating that rest and digest soothing system. And we're going to be looking over the next few days at a number of different ways that we can help move between those systems and introduce the right balance for us to live well.
And if you can, over the next few days, take time to think about what helps you access your green system. It's going to be different for everybody. Perhaps just by noticing when you're in the green system, just think about what is it that's helping me get this sort of warm, safe feeling. And also just seeing if there's anything you can do that will actively take you into the green system, whether that's listening to some music, just spending time with a loved one, getting out into nature or looking at nature through your window. You may even want to do some mindfulness, which we'll be talking about over the next few days as well.
I think that kind of really leads us on nicely to our topic tomorrow, which is around looking at values and the choices we have as to where we put our energy, and that difference between a kind of need achievement and a values-based achievement, kind of looking at what our intention is when we go into doing some of the things that we do. So that's what we're going to be exploring tomorrow. So we really look forward to your company then. Should be a good one.